Okay, so next topic what we are going to discuss is about Selenium. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about something called as okay, so let me tell you the name of the topic later. So we'll start with the automation. So let me take one link. Okay, so and we'll start scripting. So let me create a new class and I will call that as work on drop down. Okay, so and I'll say finish. So this is the link that we have. Let me just launch the link and show you. Okay, so in this link, it's taking some time to load. Yeah. So in this link, what we want to do is we want to select the drop down value to some other value, like maybe third or fourth index value, any value that is fine. We want to select and we want to enter some date here. Okay, like today's date, and then we want to submit. Okay, so these are all the operations we want to do in this website. So let us get started. So let me start writing the code. So I'll simply copy paste what we have done so far. So I'm going to simply copy paste. I have done that, and we have a URL stored in the properties file that is here. So I'll simply replace this with the URL of this application. Okay, I've done that, and now we have maximized and we have used implicit wait. Now let us go further and let us find the locator for this. What is unique locator? I'll use inspect element, and I can see that it is a select drop down and it is having id equal to select. So I'll use id equal to select. So driver dot find element by dot id. Okay, and so now for this how do you work with select? We already know. We can say select equal to new select of select underscore drop. Okay, so now we have to import related to select from Selenium, so the first one, and then we have to say select dot, we can say we want to select the value, any value. So I'll say select by visible text. So I'll use some of the visible text that is available. I can see that it has this Marcado. So this is in not in English. So I'm copying the text whatever is available. So I'll just give that value. So we want to select that value, and after we have selected the value, we want to enter the date. So to enter the date, I can directly enter the text in this text field. So I'll say driver dot find element by dot id dot, I'll say send keys, and we can pass the date. That is, I'll simply copy this data and I'll paste it here. And then finally we want to click submit. Okay, so submit is a link again. So I will use by link text. So I can say driver dot find element by dot link text dot click. So is it okay, this code?
Yes, Srinivas.
Okay, yeah, now let us go ahead and run this. And we are running in Chrome browser. Okay, it has launched the application, and we expect it to select the value from the drop down and continue. Let us check the console. We can see that there is an exception. It says no such element exception. Okay. So have we discussed this before? When we get no such element exception, what we need to do? How do we fix this problem?
By using explicit wait.
By using explicit wait. Okay, we can
so
use.
that uh, so that
Mhm.
the element will be visible.
Okay, okay, we can do that. Can you help me with that code for the explicit wait? WebDriver wait equal to new WebDriver wait, right?
Yeah.
Okay, driver comma 10. Okay, and then we need to say wait dot until, as you said, I'm going to give expected conditions dot element to be clickable. That is what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll use select drop here. I'm going to give here. Okay, yeah, now it looks fine, this code.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll run it again. We still got the exception. Same exception.
Yeah.
Okay, so now today we are going to learn something new. Okay, you can go on mute. Okay, so we are going to learn something new. So whenever we find the element using locators, we also have to be quite careful while checking under which parent that HTML is coming from. Okay, so now let me just go up in this and let us see this select drop down. Let me just come back to the select drop down. I'll just, yeah, select. So this select drop down is available inside something called as iframe. Okay, so basically it is available inside a frame called as iframe. So that is why Selenium did not work with the normal operation. So why it did not work? Because whenever there is a iframe, we have to treat it differently. Okay, now first of all, let us try to understand what is iframe. Okay, so iframe stands for inline frame. Okay, so inline frame is nothing but it is a HTML document embedded inside another HTML document. Okay, so whenever you construct HTML, if you see any HTML, for example, let us take google.com. You check the HTML of it by right clicking. You can say view page source, or you can say inspect element. When you see that inspect element, you can see the HTML, full HTML of that application, right? You can see it. It is starting from HTML, head, body, and things like that. So it has all these things. Okay, so this is one HTML. Okay. Now the concept of iframe is in HTML you can have multiple HTMLs embedded inside. That is by using iframes. Okay. So by using iframes you can have HTML inside HTML. Okay. So now whenever you have HTMLs created like that, if you have HTML created inside HTML, then if you are trying to find the element using our normal methods, it will not work because it will treat it as a normal HTML starting from HTML body and things like that. It will not consider frame to be available. If frame is available, we have to write the explicit code to switch to that frame. Okay, only when we switch to that frame, it will go inside that frame, and then it will continue. Okay, so we have to have the explicit code written to switch to the frame. So now how do we switch to the frame? First thing what we need to find out is whether our element is available inside a frame. So how do you know it is available inside a frame? Is when you check the HTML. Like here, when I have checked, my select is here, and it is available inside a tag called as iframe. So if you see it, if your element is available inside a tag called as iframe, that means it is available inside one more HTML. So HTML inside HTML. So this is the iframe. It has iframe ID, it has iframe name, and things like that. So this is one separate HTML, and there is one more HTML at the top. This is the main HTML. This is the main HTML, and it has embedded HTML inside HTML. Okay, so this is how it has been created. So now, whenever we say to Selenium through our normal code, when we are saying find element by ID select, it was finding in this HTML body somewhere, it was trying to find. It did not find. It did not go inside this iframe because this was a separate HTML. So we need a code for that. So what we need to do is we need to use the method. Let me just come here after this timeout. Yeah, so we have to say driver dot like how we have used the code to switch to the alert. We have to say driver dot switch to, and then we need to say frame. Okay, so this is the method to switch to the frame. So this is only when you have a HTML inside HTML, that is if you see a iframe tag. Okay, so if you have like this, then we have to use this switch to frame. And switch to frame gives there are three type of methods. That is, this is overloaded method. It has frame of int, frame of string, and frame of element. Now let us discuss frame of int, frame of string, and frame of element. Okay, now let us see the first one, frame of index. So this is useful if you want to switch to the particular frame index. Like let us say uh, you have four frames in your HTML. Okay, and you want to go to the fourth frame. Okay, so you have to start from 0, so you can give third 3. So by using index, you can pass the index like 0, 1, or 2, any number. So it will switch to that particular frame which is available in the HTML. So if you have only one frame available, you can pass 0 if you want to switch to that frame. That is by using frame of integer. And next is if you want to switch to frame based on ID or name. Okay, so you can directly switch to frame by passing that frame's ID or name. Okay, like in this example, so we can see that it has ID as frame contents, and it also has name as frame contents. So we can take ID or name, and we can use that value to pass to switch to that particular frame. We can use frame of frame contents. Okay, and this is second method. And third method is you can create a element of this iframe. You can create a element. How do you create element? You can have any locator, like you can use XPath, or you can create CSS selector, or you can create anything based on any other locator type. So you can create a web element out of it, and that frame web element you need to switch here. Like for example, I will create a XPath for this. I will say iframe, and I will say at the rate ID equal to frame underscore contents. So this is the valid XPath to switch to this particular frame. So there are three ways to switch to frame. One is based on index, second is based on name or ID, and third is based on element. So element can be by using CSS or XPath or any other type. So basically it has to be unique. So have that, and then we can switch. Now let us come back here, and in this code I am going to say frame of, I will use ID or name. Okay, so I am going to take frame contents, and I'll pass the frame contents here. Okay, now after it has switched, so here from here onwards I'll say switch to frame. Okay, so now after it has switched to this frame, From here onwards, it is inside this frame. So it will select the drop down, it will select here, and then come to text. Now let us see whether this text is inside the same frame or not. To see that, we can just again check, expand it, and you can just let me move this down, and let me just check this. You can see this is the input field, and if you just scroll up, yeah, it is available directly inside frame. And also you can see that whenever you hover on the frame, it is showing the portion of the HTML, what all area it is covering. So if all the elements are inside that, so that means those elements are covered inside frame. So we need to switch to the frame while working with those elements. Okay. So so for this entering the date also comes under the same frame, because it has already switched. Once it has switched, we don't have to again switch. So it will select, enter the keys, and it will click on the Buskar button. So all these things are done. Now after it is done, now let us say that you want to click on this particular link, home link. You want to click on home link. Now let us select this home, and home is having is a link, HTML link. So I'll use by using class, I'll say class link home. Okay, I'll use that. Yeah, I think yeah, class link I can use. I'm checking whether sometimes it is not unique. Yeah, it is unique. Class equal to link home. So I'll copy this class equal to link home, and also let us have a check whether this class, this object is available inside iframe or not. This object is not available inside iframe. I can see it directly, so it is not available. Now, so far it was inside the iframe till here. I mean, from here it started switching to the iframe, so it is checking only inside iframe. Now you want to come out of iframe. To come out of iframe, we can use a method called as driver dot switch to dot default content. So this will switch back to the main HTML. Okay, and then we can say driver dot find element by dot class name, whatever you are doing in the main HTML. We are finding by class name, and then we are going to click. Now let us run this code. I hope you understood now how to switch to the frame and how we can come out of it by using driver.switch to default content. We can see that it changed the values and all, and it also clicked on home. So it worked fine, the code worked fine, and I can see in my Eclipse console also there is no exception. So this is how we have learned today how to switch to frame and how we can come out of it. While switching to the frame, there are three ways. We can use index. So whichever frame it is there, to that frame based on index it will switch, or we can switch based on name or ID. And third way is we can pass the web element, and it will web element of the iframe, and so that it will switch to that iframe. Okay, so now if you have any questions, let me know. I think other than that, we are done for today.